Mhm.
Both are necessary, and we rely on each other. Now, the problem is when you separate men from women, which has been the great goal of the leftists for 150 plus years. When you separate men from women, men become overly independent and women become overly conformist. Right? So the old argument is the woman, I have this ferocious conflict between a mother and her son in my novel, The Present. Towards the end, Oliver and his mother have this brutal conflict because Oliver's mother says, we have to go and help such and such a person. He's family, blah, blah, blah. And he says, we can't. And I won't get into all the details of the novel because you'd listen to read the novel. But women want to help everyone. And that's lovely. And the reason why women have evolved to want to help everyone is it's the man's job to say, we can't. We can't. Oh, but there are all these starving children in Africa. It's like, well, we can't. We got our own kids. We got our own community, right? So that negotiation, whereas men wouldn't even think to go and help the starving kids in Africa. So women will remind men of social obligations and responsibilities, and men will remind women of limited resources. Now, you get governments, you get fiat currency, you get borrowing, unfunded liabilities, deficits, debts, and money printing. Then that lift, that restraint of resource availability vanishes. And then women, their desire to help is no longer tempered by the male, we can't, we don't have the time, we don't have the money, we don't have the resources, right? Which is what's supposed to restrain this excessive. It's only excessive outside of male.
Because it's not theirs. It's because it's the state's. And so we don't, it's like a separate entity.
Right, of course, right? So once women get the vote and women can vote for unlimited resources, at least as they perceive, then women become addicted to the high of helping. Throw wide the borders. Send money overseas. We can help. And there's no male restraint to say, we can't. Like this is not good. We got our own family. And if you can get women to not have their own children, and then you can start pumping infinite fantasy monopoly cash into women's hands, they get sweaty with semi-orgasmic joy at their ability to help everyone. And again, women have evolved to help within a tribal context and under the restraint of the limited resources that men can produce. And you take away those caps and you get this suicidal gusher of female hyper-empathy or hyper-compassion, which becomes extremely pathological. I think it's not Gad Saad's argument, but he does talk about this sort of pathological altruism.
Suicidal empathy,
So this is the problem with statism. And this is why the leftists want to separate men from women, because if you separate men from women, women's altruism, no longer restrained by masculine limits, becomes pathological, and they become addicted to helping. And then anybody who says we have to help less is then treated as someone who is denying a healthy drug to someone who's sick. Because at least somebody who's an heroin addict, you say, oh man, you shouldn't take heroin. They're like, yeah, I know. I mean, I really shouldn't, but I'm addicted, blah, blah, blah. But no, I'm helping, I'm saving the refugees and the migrants and the undocumented blah, blah, blahs and all the sick and all of the women who had children and then the man left. I'm helping. And it just becomes something that men really can't process, but women really get. That when women get addicted to unlimited help, it's sort of like when men get addicted to the fantasy of unlimited sexual activity through pornography or something. When women get addicted to unlimited help and men can no longer restrain women's altruism, then the altruism goes from something that's healthy to something that's cancerous, something that grows without restraint and without respite. And this is why women have gone super left, because women cleave to whoever gives them the resources, and they have become the harem of the state. BOTS, they're bots, they're brides of the state. And this is why you see women, especially if you have I think he's kind of reptilian and greasy, but, Gavin Newsom from California, the taller and good-looking guy generally wins the election, right? And so women have bonded to the state because the state feeds them their drug of choice, which is pathological altruism, and men are helpless. Because, I get all these comments on X, and I'll shut up in a sec, right? But I get all these comments on X. The men are all like, why don't we got to step up? We got to do this. How are we going to? It's like, you're outvoted, bro. You're outvoted. The women will continue to vote to take away money from the men because men are massive net contributors to the tax system and women a massive net withdrawers. And that doesn't even count the welfare state, which is a female thing. And you can see this. Women get the vote. Government spending goes through the roof because women want to help. And they don't like to be restrained in their helping. And men, that tension, right? Women have not learned to restrain their own desire to help others because that was the man's job to help restrain them. And men have not learned how to reach out and maintain social context over time because women have done that. We have divided that labor. And so women have now become fetishistic, altruistic, hyperthyroid, altruist bots paid for by the next generation, paid for by men, paid for by debt, paid for by money printing,